Well, here we are. We're starting off a new day, and we're all starting off with "It's all good." I hope that it's all good. I could stand to use a song that makes me feel that good. Anyway, let's check it out, shall we? This is very exciting. I've been loving this week so much. This has been such a great week.
아시는 분들은 다 같이 불러주세요.
파도를 타고 흘러 떠나고 싶어 아무런 생각도 않고 나 홀로 조용히 나 홀로 저 멀리 어린 기억 저편에서 하늘을 날아줘 아무것도 몰랐고 아름다움에 그저 놀랐죠
Ooh.
세상을 이제야 알 것 같아 두렵지만 It's alright 끝을 수 없는 건 너뿐이야 너에게 소리쳐 끝이 아니야 아직 조금일 뿐이야 아직 조금 멋질 뿐이야 잠시면 돼 마음을 열어보내
Ooh.
Everything I'll figure it out. 나만 갈 길을 잃은 것 같아 right now. 근데 기억해 난 네가 보고 있는 게 그들 삶을 highlight. There's no need to sweat. No need 하고 있는데 영원 걱정 마. Just do you listen. There's no need for any regret.
끝을 알 수 없는 건 너뿐이야 너에게 소리쳐
This is wild.
아직 조금 이를 뿐이야 아직 조금 더 잘 뿐이야 잠시면 돼 마음을 열어보내 마음을 열어보내 하늘 높이 파란 바다 깊이 훌훌 다시 달려갈 수
다시 달려갈 수 있게 다시 하늘을 날아갈 수 있게 다시 날아갈 수 있게 거센 파도를 이겨낼 수 있게 아프지만 한 번씩 호흡해 okay no pain no gain 이 정도 아픔에 절대 굴복 따윈 안 해 no thanks 쉬어가도 돼 누가 날 겁내 It's alright
알 수 없는 건 너뿐이야 너에게 소리쳐 끝이 아니야 아직 조금일 뿐이야 아직 조금 번질 뿐이야 잠시면 돼 마음을 열어보내 마음을 열어보내 파란을 높이 파란 바다 깊이 훌훌 다시 달려갈 수 있게
Wow.
다시 달려갈 수 있게
Phenomenal. There's one spot. I have to talk a little bit about technique. I'm sorry. All right, here we go. This spot right here. I love his technique so much. So again, for those of you who have not ever had any experience with like vocal training or anything like that, the thing that's so impressive is if you have no knowledge of how like just singing kind of works in general rather than like what everybody kind of does. I'm talking about like trained professional singing. Almost everything is always done through your diaphragm. I know it always sounds a little gross to say this, but I feel like that every single time I want to explain it, I feel like I have to put this out there. Basically, the way you get power for singing is when you use the muscles that you do to make yourself pee. I know, it sounds a little gross, but when you can use that, your diaphragm, you use those muscles to push out the power to be able to create the notes. And that is what is a very much on brand shot right here. The thing that's also really cool about watching that is that he has a really good technique of controlling his breathing. Now, I know that sounds weird, but again, I'm just going to talk to you as if you've never heard this before. When you are singing, one of the things that's always interesting, the more power you put out, the less air you have. The less power you put out, the more air you have. And you have to kind of bear in mind what the, basically what your measures are and be able to kind of note more or less where you are most comfortable at when it comes to singing in terms of like how far you like to draw out the, your breath. See, again, I'm very hypercritical because I know these mistakes when I make them, especially since I'm currently in training. I almost always let too much air go out. I almost never give myself enough time to get my breath back to get into the next phrase. And I continually try to fix that, but it's just a natural part of how I sing, I guess. But right here, when you watch him, there's another thing that I really like. When you get to the point where you're just in a note, you can kind of just let your, basically it's like putting it in neutral and you can just kind of maintain as long as you can keep breath. And that's what you're seeing right here. This is all those little small techniques. Like that's why a lot of times what's really interesting is that someone will look super relaxed like he does, and he probably is. But the thing that's really interesting is like you think that all the muscles right here are doing the pushing, but in reality it's kind of more like down here. And he looks so comfortable and he looks so relaxed while doing it. I think that it's just so cool to watch. Now, a thing that's also interesting too, and I've explained this before, so this is for those of you who have not heard this explanation. When you sing, a lot of times you don't use a lot of exaggerated mouth movements. Most of the time, if you're like kind of doing more traditional, like on terms of like Broadway or opera, most of it is actually generally big, open, and then you work with vowels, A, E, A, O, U, and the way that you change pitch is actually how you form the sound with your tongue. So A, E, A, O, U. Yeah, you should be able to do it all without even making your lips move. A, E, A, O, U. Except for maybe U, just because it's awkward. A, E, A, O, U. And you can see that right here. Right there. He's not moving his lips to go, he's actually just using the formation of his tongue to do that. Pretty interesting. And you know, the fun thing is that in reality you can actually see kind of how each one of them handle this. Let's go back just a little bit. He does have a slightly... Here, let me just do this really quick. Boop, 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 boop. So he's slightly higher, so it's going to probably require a little bit more power to kind of get that, which probably means that he's using more air, like I said. It's kind of interesting because, again, singing higher is kind of like taking a car really, really fast on the road. The higher you get, the easier it is to make mistakes, so you have to be a lot more precise. So, and then let's check out... Yeah, see, that's what I do. That's what I look like when I get to the end of a note. I feel that. You know, the funny thing is, sorry, this is probably gone a little bit longer than you'd like. But the one thing that I always have to say that always makes me so ecstatic about Btob is that every single time I go to watch them, I always think, how are they going to fit the rap line in this? How are they going to make this work in the rap line? And then every single time they get to the rap line, I'm like, okay, they made it fit. They made it work. I don't know how, but they did. And the funny thing is, you know, just because of my natural aversion to rap in general, every single time I'm just like, oh, please, I hope that this doesn't just take me out of the song. Then immediately I'm like, oh, this actually works.
There's no need for any regrets.
Yeah, he's probably kind of at the top of his range in going to that specific spot. Great harmonies. I really like this. Honestly, too, I think the thing that also works is the fact that, in a sense, sadly, we are down one person. But the thing that I think is kind of a bit of a surprise is that there's someone who is kind of like their tweener. He can sing and do the rap. And I think he always just handles that so well. One last spot, and then we'll close. I think that's so cool. Props to him for being able to swap and like swing like that the way that he does. Super impressive. But anyway, this song is gorgeous. I love it. I hope that you liked this as much as I did. And we'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Goodbye. All right. Aaron, you take way too long.